when we talk about the Moors, come on. If you look at the Moors practices, we understand the fall of Kemet. We understand the fall of Africa. See, if you look at the fall of Africa, the Moors, what you would call their great period, was during or after the fall of Africa. We're talking about the Moors civilizing Caucasian people. We're talking about the Moors being the first president of the United States. You're talking about the Moors having black slaves. Uh-oh. When we talk about the Moorish people or the Moorish men that work side and side with Caucasian people, I just told you about the procession of the equinox, how we're going into a destructive period. So when y'all talk about those black people, those Muslims that had slaves or that helped with the slave trade or that helped with the foundation of America, those are the black Moors who betrayed Africa. When the Arabic Muslims came into Africa and destroyed Africa, destroyed sub-Saharan Africa. And when you have the black converts from the sub-Saharan era, or the trans-sub-Saharan slave trade era, you get the birth of the Moors, or the Moorish men, right? From that paradigm of the destruction of Africa with those pale fucking Arabs who came and destroyed Africa.
Doubting that bullshit that you've been told, and you need that info. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. Tune in to consciousness and watch the lies fold, then you can let the truth flow. On Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. When you feel that melanin about to explode, like you feel the wind blow, it's Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. I know you got the truth, but you can get more, so you continue to grow. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV.
1, 2, 1, 2. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another Sonetta TV, House of Consciousness production. Black News 102, Sonetta Studios. You already see who it is on the screen. This is a no holds barred interview right here. I want to get into the mind of this young brother right here that's been doing great work. I want to first commend you on the work you did when you went to Detroit.
Appreciate it.
You on the street. You teaching on the street, brother. So did you bring that with you?
Yeah, I got that. The footage. Now with the footage.
I wish you would have brought it so I could have easily threw it out.
I know.
Oh, man.
Get it up. I'm gonna get it
so anyway, I want to first say thank you, my brother, for doing this great and mighty work. You're not in the house on your computer, being a keyboard karate gangster. You are out in the public. You are out in the street. And you're a young brother. So I'll give you props for that. So talk to me, my man. What's on your heart and mind? This is late night talk right here. So you know, we're gonna keep it real and keep it live, brother. What's up?
Like I want to do, like I did last interview, I want to give thanks to Sonetta, because that's I got out here, you know, I've been putting in work, but you know, coming on Sonetta TV, I got a lot of love. You know, people notice me from all over the world, Canada, Africa, all over the world.
I just came back from a lecture in Detroit. It was beautiful. You know, I have a booking for Connecticut. I have another booking for Detroit in September, and I got a booking for Atlanta in December. So much love to Sonetta. What a lot of people don't understand, I'm gonna start off with explaining what NuWaupu is, because a lot of people don't even know what NuWaupu is. They don't know the functions of NuWaupu, the angles of NuWaupu. Okay, I'm gonna start off with one part of NuWaupu, and that's our culture, which is NuPu. NuWaupu is our actual culture, and that's called animism. So if you guys know what animism is, almost every indigenous tribe or culture practice animism. That's the idea that nature, everything in nature is alive and living. So we live by natural nature. Natural nature is our way of life as natural people. So when you talk about natural things, it has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with God. If your God is sitting in heaven on a throne, right, that means your God's in the confines of nature, right? When you die and you're good or bad, let's say you're good, you're supposed to go to heaven. Where's heaven? Heaven is up there in the skies, beneath the stars, amongst the stars. If your God's in heaven, in a place, has a throne, which Jesus or Isa is going to sit next to him, that throne is in a place. It's in a heaven. That's within the confines of nature, not outside the confines of nature. So with NuWaupu, we don't mess with things that are mysterious or mythical. We deal with actual facts. So now looking at animism. Animism, it shows you that nature is thinking. It's actual living and acting. It's reasoning. Because reasoning is what creates the sun. Reasoning is what creates intelligence and genes. If you look at a flower, what some flowers will do, they will release pheromones, right? From the flower to different bees or insects to come and pollinate itself. That's divine mind. That's intellect. You understand what I'm saying? So now, if you look at different plants, if different plants are getting attacked, right, they will send out those same pheromones to different animals, or no, to different bees or insects to come, yeah, definitely, to come and eat the insect that's eating that flower. That's intellect. That's animism. That shows you that different aspects of nature is reasoning and thinking as a conscious being. Another example, if a tree is dying in the midst of two other trees, those other trees will release water to that tree that's dying from itself to heal that tree. So now we're talking about actual consciousness within nature, right? We know that Dr. Emoto is a scientist that broke down that water is actually a living and thinking being. Our mind can change the molecular structure of water. So we know that there's a consciousness within water. You understand what I'm saying? So now we have to understand that nature is a living being. So as NuWaupians, we embrace animism. And animism is our way of life as natural nature. We're natural as black people, as indigenous people. So we go along with the process of nature. We don't go outside the confines of nature. There is no such thing as supernatural. Supernatural is heights of nature, within nature. So when we say supernatural, people are thinking about this mythical thing. But we're actually talking about nature. NuWaupu is supernatural because it's the highest form of natural nature. So another aspect of, thank you, brother. Another aspect of NuWaupu, as NuWaupians, we practice NuPu. And what NuPu is actually the mental resurrector. You know, it's basically the antidote for these Adamite religions. These Adamite religions, when I say Adamite, I mean Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Mosesism, Jesusism, and Mohammedism. So we're basically breaking that spell. So when you see the NuWaupian brothers on 125th teaching, that's us breaking the spell of these Adamite religions that was on us for the last 6,000 years. And to make something clear, when I say 6,000 years, you can refer to the Bible when they say the devil was given 6,000 years to rule. That's nothing spooky. That's actual nature. If you ever go to what they'll call the procession of the equinox or the great year, Plato called it the great year. Go look this up. It's called the great year by Plato or the procession of the equinox. That's basically 4 cycles of 6,000 years, which make up 4,000 years, right? Like there's 24 hours in a day, or 24,000 miles in circumference of our planet, or our 24,000 genome, right? We have a bigger cycle like winter and summer, day and night. And that's what we call the precession of the equinox. That's when our sun revolves around an even bigger sun. Our sun and our whole solar system revolves around an even bigger sun for a sequence of 24,000 years, right? And that's called the great year or the precession of the equinox. So when you break those years up to 6,000 years, we are currently in the 6,000 years of destructiveness, or what they'll call the dark ages, right? And this is why ancient people knew that we was going to go through a precession. Think about it, precession of the equinox. So we went through a destructive stage of 6,000 years, which religious people say the devil was given 6,000 years to rule. 6,000 years from whenever the Adamites were created, or that paradigm was created, we're living in that paradigm of 6,000 years. So now we're going back into what they'll call the Aquarian age. We're going back into a positive of the sun cycle. And that's where we have gentrification. People are asking, where is it gentrification coming from? Literally, white people are trying to come out of hotter regions of the world into colder regions of the world. If you look at all these Caucasian people coming from all these hot places, they're coming into Brooklyn, they're coming into Harlem. We know that New York City is only hot 2-3 months out of the year. So when you really think about that, white people are trying to come to a place that's thriving economically into a colder climate. One thing that us as conscious people do know is that National Geographic said by 2050, everyone's going to be of color. What does that even mean? In 2050, everyone's going to be of color. That means, think with your logical mind, is that the sun is reaching a level of ultra where white people won't even be able to survive on this realm. They won't even be able to live under the sun rays of the sun without catching severe cases of cancer or melanoma. So now, this is where your whole justification is coming into play. Caucasian people are coming trying to experience a cold climate where they can still tap into that economic stability that New York City has. You understand what I'm saying? So when they say 2050 everyone's going to be of color, that means that they're going to try and get to a much interracial relationships as possible. I know y'all see it, family. I know y'all see that Caucasian man walking with that black sister with the big afro and the big butt. You know what I'm saying? He's not with the slim sister with the perm. He with the black sister with the afro. Because the black woman is literally saving his genome. So they don't care about the black man. If you look at the black man is going through hell. The black man, he's going through the school to prison pipeline. That's when the black man with the zero tolerance law in the school from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, where they're engineering kids into the prison system. Look at that up, the school to prison pipeline. They don't give a fuck about black men. Sorry for my language. They don't care about black men, but they care about black women because black women are literally going to save their genome if we allow this interracial paradigm to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because their time is ran out. And when I say their time is ran out, I'm not talking about spooky stuff. I'm talking about nature. Nature is telling them it's time to go. Let me just wrap it up. So when I talk about NuWaupu is animism, right? That's our culture. We live an animist lifestyle with actual nature. What our goal is and what our mission is NuWaupu, and that's to heal our minds, urging us into the new cycle, which is the sun cycle. That's NuWaupu. And that's for y'all hating ass niggas talking about some, they're a cult. What is a cult? Explain to me what's a cult. It's clowns. All right, but
I interviewed Prince York not too long ago. Twice I interviewed the brother Prince York. And what I get from the brother is he's a young, educational, brilliant, smart young man. I see brilliance come out of him. I see he's smart. He just got to come off the fucking high horse sometime. He's a good brother. He just got to come off the high horse and walk with your people. Stop acting like you're above your people. So the question I have for you is, do you see Prince York as one of the best teachers of NuWaupu?
Well, see, NuWaupu, we have a lot of good teachers. Ramsey is a really good teacher. Okay. You know what I'm saying? He takes his time and study. You know, he's a really good teacher. So it's just growth, man. It's just a growth and experience. You know, the high horse you're talking about just takes growth and experience to, you know, spar with the people and interact with the people. So he's a good teacher. Definitely a good teacher. So I can't take that away from him. But before you get to your next question, a lot of y'all crazy, what should I use? NuWaupians that's in the chat. I want to let y'all know that I have a beautiful daughter on the way.
There you go.
A beautiful daughter on the way.
That's right.
She be here early September. Shout out to my beautiful mate. You know what I'm saying? My wife, my woman, Alexis. You know, showing much love to you. It's all love, black love, forever. You know, that's my heart right there. She held me down since I've been here in New York City. I've been in New York City for 1 year. She's been rocking out with me. She's been holding me down. That's my girl right there. I love you, girl. She might doubt me sometimes because I'm so busy. I'm running to Detroit. I'm running all over the place. But I love you, girl. You've been holding me down since day one. You know, you my heart. And my daughter's going to be, I'm sorry to say this, but my first love. You know, when it comes to love is kind of spooky. But when my daughter get here, that's my love right there. Words bond. That's all love. So when we talk about family, you know, family's important. This is my first experience with a daughter, bringing a daughter into the world. That's life right there. It's surreal. She's not even here yet, and I feel it, you know. So that's a beautiful thing. So while I'm waiting for Sarnetta, I want y'all to definitely check out my Instagram page, Divine Essence 999. And if you want to keep up with my lectures, I had one in Detroit. I had one in New York City about a month ago. Detroit a week and a half ago. Go to my YouTube page, Huhi Kaa. You know, if you put Huhi Kaa on YouTube, HUHI space KAA, you're gonna get all my lectures, all my everything, all my builds, all that. So,
okay. Have you always been a NuWaupian? If not, when you became a NuWaupian?
I'm gonna start off from conception. I was born a Hebrew Israelite. And it was a beautiful experience. You know, I grew up in a polygamous household. I actually have 18 brothers and sisters. You know, my father had multiple mates, so I had multiple mothers. So I grew up in a cultural environment. We always wore all white hair wrap with the Yahweh ben Yahweh. It was you had my uncle started, my grandfather, Yaquab, he started the Hebrew Israelites in New York City.
Hold on. Your grandfather is Huhi Kaa?
Yaquab.
Yaquab.
Yeah, and Marche's my uncle. They did it together.
Oh, wow. So they started the Hebrew Israelite community
in New York City.
Before ISUPK?
Wait.
Hold on. So you saying your grandfather? Yeah, Abba Bibbins.
They came together.
So you saying that they started it before there was an ISUPK?
Yeah, they started off that ISUPK. They started that off. So my uncle Yaquab and Marche, they came together and they started what you would call the ISUPK, and they've been putting in work on the streets for a long time. But what I was getting to is Yahweh ben Yahweh. He had his thing set up in Miami and New York and like basically all around America, but Miami was where the headquarters was at. That was a really elegant experience for me. You know, we grew up wearing all white hair wrap. We were saying that the white man's the devil. We knew that in our head by his actions. So it was always a level of consciousness, me growing up as a Hebrew Israelite. See, now, even though my father was a Hebrew Israelite, he always had Bobby Hemmett, you know, Dr. Blair, you know, Phil Valentine rocking and on the TV. So as a young Hebrew Israelite, my dad was reasoning, you know. So he was always into metaphysics. He was always into sciences. My father even knew about Dr. Malachi of York. You know, I just discovered it as growing up. So I grew up in a really elegant experience. And then as I grew, I became what you'll call a conscious black man. You know, I went through a period of my time where I started getting locked up and going through crazy shit. Because I grew up with so many brothers and sisters. If you ask any of my family, I just felt like I needed my space. So I went out, I started throwing parties, I started getting into crazy, you know, experiences in life. I got locked up 3 times. You know, and then after that, it was a major transition in my mind. But I always thought different than my family ever since I was 7 years old. And that's a long story right there. But growing up, I came across Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Blair, you know, Phil Valentine, and I was always reasoning. And then about when I would say 19 years old, 18, I came across Dr. Malachi of York. I read my first book. And most NuWaupians, they become NuWaupian by reading their first book. Because NuWaupians, we're not a religion. We don't recruit people, you know. We don't be going out there, you have to be a NuWaupian or you're going to go to hell. We give people books. Once you read that book, then things start to click in your mind. Puzzle pieces start to come together. They call it a DNA explosion. And then at that point, I decided, let me become a NuWaupian. You know? So that's how I became NuWaupian.
What really attracted you to Dr. York, brother? What attracted, because I'm going to get ready to go in. So I want you to be ready for this. What really attracted you to Dr. York?
When I was 7 years old, I'm going to go back. Something clicked in my mind, right? I just act totally different. I went through a certain experience. I'm not going to talk about that right now as a 7-year-old child. Where after that, I started asking questions. I was totally different. I started asking people questions like, yo, if God created us, who created God? You know, things didn't add up to me. God coming down, walking on this physical realm. Where is he now? I just started asking questions. So as a 7-year-old kid, I already thought different. So I reasoned on a level of, I would say, a NuWaupian as a young age. So as I got older and dealing with being a prideful Hebrew Israelite, I studied the Bible. I'm one of the Hebrew Israelites that studied the Bible, even in Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? So when Dr. York spoke to me, he spoke to something within me. Because he read the Bible in Hebrew. And once he translated things in Hebrew, then he broke certain codes for me. I had a DNA explosion. You know what I'm saying? So when he started talking about everything Dr. Delbert Blair, Phil Valentine, and Bobby Hemmett was talking about, but on a different level, that still was a DNA explosion. You know? Because I'm like, now who is this man? Because I heard them talk about it, but he's taking it to another level. You understand what I'm saying? So at that point, I decided to be a NuWaupian. And you know, as NuWaupians, we have what you call Tahuti braid, right? And it's located on our 33rd vertebrae. We know at 33rd, you know, you're a 33rd degree Mason, right? And that's when you break consciousness. The 33rd vertebrae is where our reptilian brain is, right? And that once you break past that reptilian brain, then you get into consciousness. Dr. Delbert Blair said that we were engineered by what you would call, what the Dogons call the Namos, which were reptilian beings to have a reptilian brain at the 33rd vertebrae of our spine. See, after I started reading the books, I never knew NuWaupian men were this. I naturally cut all my hair off because I had long hair and I had this braid. You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, along with the DNA explosions I was having while doing my research, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be at. It's a wrap, because nature was literally talking to me. Because we know nature is actually a living, thinking being. And at that point, I just made the transition. I'm NuWaupian.
One thing I gotta admit, man, is that Dr. York was a very powerful brother in his time when he was here amongst the people. Because in Brooklyn, he had it locked down. I mean, damn near all the rappers was listening to him. The youth was listening to him. I mean, other leaders was listening to him. Talk to us about the conspiracy. Talk to us about the allegations. How old was you when you heard the allegations that Dr. York was molesting children? And what happened to your mind at that time when you heard this? This is your hero. This is your man. This is a man you look up to. Talk to us. How old was you when you started hearing the rumors and the allegations, brother?
Actually, before I was in NuWaupian.
Oh, okay.
But now, this is what happened in my brain, because I'm a reasoning, a rational type of dude. I looked at Yahweh ben Yahweh. I looked at the cases that was thrown together to lock him up. I looked at the witnesses. I looked at actually, what was the eye-opener to me was in the nation of Yahweh, right? The nation of love, right? What we call it the nation of love. Yeah, I'm getting on that. Yahweh ben Yahweh. Well, we found out, because my dad was Yahweh ben Yahweh's right-hand man. Yahweh ben Yahweh was like my uncle, because one of my dad's mates was his sister, Yahweh ben Yahweh's sister, right? So what we have to understand, a lot of people that came out on the stand was FBI agents. A lot of people in the nation of Yahweh was FBI agents. A lot of people. So me rationally knowing about what happened with Yahweh ben Yahweh, and then looking at the nation of Islam, when Malcolm X said a lot of people in the nation is agents. A lot of people in the nation are police officers, and they told me this is what Malcolm X said. He said they came out and told me. They said I have to do it. You can actually listen to Malcolm X saying that from his voice. So me looking at the nation of Islam, looking at the nation of Yahweh, right? Looking at how there's agents in every organization. Looking at Marcus Garvey, where we had the first black agent, right? It wasn't hard for me to rationalize and really look at the thing and look at all the papers and all the, the charges and see what was really going on. With Dr. York's case, a lot of things that a lot of people don't know is that he wasn't convicted of child molestation because it was never proven in court. The allegation of child molestations were never proven in court. And if you go on my YouTube, Huhi Kaa, Huhi space Kaa, I have a video up there with all those people that was on the stand that was testifying saying that he molested them came out and rechanted their statements, saying that he didn't do it, how Jacob York expired to go against his father. The facts is there when you talk about child molestation. Now when you talk about RICO, what they really got him in, because child molestation is not a federal charge. When you talk about RICO, with money laundering and things of that sort, that's the federal charge. And they got Yahweh ben Yahweh on the same thing too. That was one of the side charges for Yahweh ben Yahweh was RICO, what we call money laundering. So that's another reason what they used to get him in a federal prison, to get him below ground. So when I heard about those allegations, I knew it was BS, but I wanted to look into it myself because I don't believe in anything. I want to check it out. I looked at the charges. I went through the case. That brings me to Ali Muhammad. Ali Muhammad, you was Ali Muhammad, you a clown. Because first of all, I went to the debate when Polite washed you up. I've been to that debate when he wiped you up and he talked about Minister Farrakhan. I want to, throw no shade at the good elder, but he showed the video where Farrakhan talked about our hair is a curse. You know what I'm saying? He tore up Islam. He tore you up, brother. And then you use the African bombarded situation to try and come back at it Polite. Not even Dr. York. Subconsciously, you were trying to come for Polite because Polite busted your ass. I'm sorry for my I'm gonna let it out. Polite busted your ass, and then you came out with the African bombarded thing and tried to tie that together, trying to talk about what you call Sodom misinterpreted. What you don't understand is Sodom in Hebrew has nothing to do with homosexuality. So when Sodom misinterpreted, that book breaks down how that had nothing to do with homosexuality. And you're talking about stuff you don't know about when you talk about the hormone sexual. So what we know about should I break that down? Because Ali Muhammad you talked about, but you don't know what you're talking about. Another thing, Ali Muhammad, you said you spoke on you said you helped out with the case. What's that, brother?
No. Spike.
Oh. Ali Muhammad, you said you helped out with the Dr. York case, right? And you said once you found out that this man was just guilty, you left it alone. But what you found out was it's impossible to win that case. Because when this devil wants you, he's going to come for you. Especially if you have a little bit of leverage when your son is going against you. When people or agents in your organization is testifying against you. So you said you worked on a case. You backed up from that case because you knew you wasn't going to win that case. And now let's talk about the homosexual. When you talk about the homosexual, which a lot of y'all people don't know about, and Dr. Yoki overstood, is that when you talk about certain people that are born a certain way, let me give you an example. When a child is in a mother's womb, right? And Dr. Double Blair broke this down as well. And the mother releases different chemicals from her brain to that child. Let's say testosterone or estrogen. When the mother releases the testosterone to her baby or her newborn, and if let's say she was taking drugs, or it may be a natural, deformity within that mother's womb. Once she secretes testosterone to that child, but she don't secrete enough testosterone to that child can be born with his brain chemistry unbalanced. Without having enough testosterone. Having enough testosterone to grow testicles, but not enough testosterone to balance out brain chemistry. So at that point, you can have a child that grows up with a little bit more feminine tendencies than masculine tendencies, right? So we talk about Dr. Yo breaking down these topics, he's talking about actual science. And then he says certain children can be born with a little bit more feminine tendencies than other children, right? And this is what you would call an imbalance or a natural imbalance within a womb, just like you'll have albinism, right? And if the parents don't get on top of that, that child can be motivated or basically influenced to be a homosexual. Just like if you look at the society that we have today, it promotes homosexuality to a great extent. So if you look at that happening within the mother's womb, a child can naturally be born with the brain chemistry within that child's head unbalanced, which can allow that child or that girl to become a lesbian or that child to become a homosexual. See, now when we talk about hormone, we talk about hormone sexual, because that's what that really is. When we talk about homosexual, it's hormone sexual. And that's when someone, because when you see a girl, just like a flower releases pheromones to different insects and things of that sort to attract itself to the flower, us as human beings, we secrete what you'll call pheromones to attract a different mate. So if I see a female that I'm interested in, I'm going to release pheromones from my brain to that female, right? And she's going to do the same, and she's going to release pheromones to me, and then we're going to attract. So when you're looking at somebody, that's a physical thing. But we're attracted on a chemical level. See, nature outthinks us. You know what I'm saying? So it created chemicals to allow us to reproduce. So now another aspect of what you'll call, Dr. York breaking down what you'll call homosexuality or hormone sexual, is that in ancient Africa, we had beings that was born that was more feminine. And I'm going to explain that. When you talk about the priests that we had, like the priest of On, though a lot of those beings were what you would call gatekeepers, because that's what your boy Ali Muhammad was talking about, but he didn't understand. If you look at the Dundera, right, the Egyptian Dundera, you will see figures on that Dundera with a female headdress, with a male, turban on, or a male, what do they call, apron on, a male apron and a female headdress, right? And vice versa. And you ask yourself, what was going on there? See, in order to tap into the spiritual realm, so let's say a male that is born with a female spirit, or a female that was born with a male spirit, because we have to understand, I hope a lot of people in the conscious community know that we're conscious before we manifest in physical density, right? That's how come we don't choose our children really choose us, because they're conscious beings incarnating within physical density. So now let's say you have a female entity incarnate within a masculine body. That's what we call a gatekeeper. When you look at certain what people will call homosexual, you see a lot of them into art, a lot of them into fashion, a lot of creative things. They don't even have to have a female spirit and still have a bit of creativity, because they're still a masculine person trying to be a female. So they have different energies that allow them to tap into different creative abilities. Now, you're a spirit incarnating within a physical body, a female spirit incarnating into a masculine body. You're able to tap into the spiritual realm. That's what we call them, gatekeepers, because they're able to tap into the spiritual realm way faster than I can, or you can. Because remember, everything started off as one, which we'll call a hermaphrodite, or just like the single cell organism that started off from the amigo to the protozoa. We started off as one, working with the masculine and feminine energy, like an atom with a proton and electron that sparks and creates life. So when we talk about the gatekeeper, which Ali Muhammad tried to talk about, we're talking about a being with both energies, male and female, that can tap into the spiritual realm better than I can or you can, Sanetta, because we're only masculine. We're talking about beings that incarnate on this. See, Akhenaten was a gatekeeper. That's what a lot of people don't know. A lot of the Egyptian priests was gatekeepers, right? Because they was able to tap into the spiritual realm. See, this is my thing. People are talking about NuWaupu, but they don't understand that NuWaupu is deeper than y'all think, because we're dealing with animism. Does Islam work with animism? No. Does Hebrew Israelites work with animism? No. If you look at the word animism, they'll tell you before colonization or before religion, Christian, Mosesism, Jesusism, or Mohammedanism, most or almost every indigenous tribe were what you would call animists. So we're talking about spirituality, and this is what NuWaupu is. So a lot of y'all, put some respect on his name, because y'all don't understand how deep NuWaupu really is. When you look at the science of it, when you look at the language, it's deeper than y'all think. So staying on track, Ali Muhammad, and with the whole African Rabbah thing, he tried to talk about the homosexual or the gatekeeper. A homosexual is when a male is attracted to the same male. He's releasing chemicals from his brain to another male instead of a female. So that's a hormone sexual, and they call it homosexual, but it's a hormone sexual. And when a woman is releasing chemicals to a different woman, that's what you call still a hormone sexual. When someone's releasing chemicals to the same sex, right? And that's a chemical imbalance within the brain, which can happen within that mother's womb. Or it can happen with what you will call influence. Let's say a male is growing up in the school system, and he's getting no interest, no kind of interest from women. Women are not attracted to this brother, right? This brother can grow up like feeling neglected. Like, none of these women want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? We all know people like that growing up in school, that want people that people they deem a loser. Right? He may be smart at calculus or mathematics and, just with the books, but he don't really got the charisma to bag a girl, and he's not getting the attention from girls. So you have a person that's kind of, I would say, unstable in the head, because we need that feminine energy. That feminine energy makes us great. So now that same man, and being in a society like this, seeing a different option of being a homosexual, he is more likely to adopt that type of lifestyle. Right? Especially if it's pushed up in the media, especially if it's pushed it right in front of his face, especially if you have, the type of society that we're in now, that child is going to be motivated, he's going to be, have a curiosity. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about homosexual, right? There's different ways to become, or molestation. I'm sorry, I have to touch on this. If a male, I know people that's been molested. If a male has been molested as a child, and his first sexual experiences with a male, and he's releasing those chemicals from his first sexual experience with another male, he can become a homosexual just off the strength of having that sexual experience with another male. So a lot of people talk about homosexuality, but they don't understand the ins and outs of homosexuality. If a woman's molested or have her first sexual experience with a female, she can become a hormone sexual, right? Or if she's getting, it don't have to be a molestation. It could be releasing chemicals to the same sex. Anything that spark those chemicals to be released to the same sex can cause a hormone sexual. Talk about what you know.
Dr. York, we hear some of the teachers say he's from another planet. What does that mean when you say he's from another planet? And what planet would that be?
All right. So, right now, first, you said what planet would that be? What science has proven to us now is that we have tri-star systems. Like we're in a solar system, we have tri-star systems with 3 stars with 3 suns, what I would call it. But when we talk about from another planet, not physically, not the physical body. The physical body was born here, right? So when we talk about, let's talk about voodoo. For the black people that know about African spirituality, voodoo or voodoo or different things when we invoke spiritual ancestors, what we do know, one thing I want to say before I break that down, is that me and you can be affected by different entities that's all around us. You know what I'm saying? That because we don't only have the physical realm, we have the spiritual realm, we have the etheric realm, we have the astral realm. These realms are interpenetrated. You understand what I'm saying? So, Sanetta, you not only have a physical body, you have a spiritual body and an etheric body. You know what I'm saying? And an astral body. So, when we talk about, when people talk about Dr. York, or what we'll call Pod Nabab Yanun, that's not Dr. York. That's a certain entity that's invoked. So with voodoo, we know with voodoo, people will drink blood, right? Or drink alcohol, and which will give a libation of blood to different entities, and these entities will literally take over their body. This is what voodoo or African spirituality, right? Not all the time do you have to give blood because those are low frequency entities that need blood. Those are low frequency entities. And I'm going to talk about that. But when you talk about Padna Babi Anun, that's a certain spiritual entity that incarnates within Dr. Malachi New York. So we're talking about spirituality. That's why I said NuWaupu is animism. It's pure animism. With animism, we invoke ancestral spirits. We acknowledge that there's spirits all around us. You understand what I'm saying? So what Dr. York did is he worked with African spirituality, and he worked with different entities. That entity that we're talking about, Padna Babi Anun, that's an incarnate deity that's invoked. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That comes and brings information or filters information. Read the books. Look what I just told you with the hormone sexual. Nobody's breaking that down. You're talking about invoking ancestral entities within the physical body. So Dr. York is not physically from, a different star system from Risk. It's certain entities that are incarnated. Take it how you want it. That's it. That haven't been broke down. A lot of y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Padna Babi Anun, that's a spiritual entity. Like anybody that works, the spiritual family, not y'all religious niggas. The spiritual family work with voodoo. The spiritual family that have an altar, right? And in the Bible, every Hebrew Israelite should have an altar in their house. And I'm going to read why soon, right? But work with the spiritual African family, we know that having an altar, we can invoke our ancestral spirits.
All right, hold on, cut right there.
I have to go in, son, because y'all know what y'all talking about.
All right. I asked you about Dr. York coming from another planet. Dr. York said he come from planet Ritz.
No, see, that's what I'm talking about. You're talking about.
I want you to deal with that.
I'm dealing with
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just deal with that. Like I said, he was physically born here. Right, that's the actual fact. He has a birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? So what we're talking about, I said the spiritual entity, if you follow what I'm saying, that's the entity that he invoked. That may be from another star system.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And when we get into spirituality, that's why I kind of pointed out the African family that deal with spirituality, right? People that followed Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett talked a lot about African spirituality, invoking spirits. Bobby Hemmett will even claim to invoke certain spirits. You video him bad times, a lot of times. Did Bobby Hemmett say he had spirits incarnated in him sometimes? Yes. That's exactly what Dr. York is saying. So when idiots are like, yo, why don't he just break out of prison if he, just spiritual entity? This is an entity that incarnated within his physical being. That incarnated within his physical being. That he summoned or was summoned to him. And this is African spirituality, you psychotic motherfucker. I'm sorry for I'm not going to get there. You mentally ill people. This is a certain entity that's being invoked. And next time, ask questions. Ask us, like Sinetta did, most eloquently, when Dr. York said he's from another planet. And then we will tell you, it's not his physical body. Because he broke this down too. And a lot of audio lectures, that he's invoking a certain entity with African spirituality.
All right, brother. Good. Powerful information. First of all, let me give a powerful shout out to the NuWaupians out there, the brothers and the sisters and the family that's out there that may be watching this. Shout out to Prince York that's out there, man. And keep it moving. Let me ask you this, brother. Are the Moors information correct? Because I know when you are NuWaupian, y'all study everything. You study Islam, you study the Moors, you study Mason, you study everything. So when you look at the Moors, are the Moors' information correct? Or what is wrong with the Moors' information?
I'm gonna touch on this lightly because I want to break down the Hebrew Israelite school and the Muslim school. When we talk about the Moors, come on. If you look at the Moorish practices, we understand the fall of Kemet. We understand the fall of Africa. See, if you look at the fall of Africa, the Moors, what you would call their great period, was during or after the fall of Africa. We're talking about the Moors civilizing Caucasian people. We're talking about the Moors being the first president of the United States. You're talking about the Moors having black slaves. Do y'all know that the Moors had black slaves? And this is not to attack the family. This is to speak truth. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about the Moorish people or the Moorish men that work side and side with Caucasian people, I just told you about the procession of the equinox, how we're going to a destructive period. So when y'all talk about those black people, those Muslims that had slaves, or that helped with the slave trade, or that helped with the foundation of America, those are the black Moors who portrayed Africa. Let's not get that twisted, family. Let's understand something about the trans-sub-Saharan slave trade. With the trans-sub-Saharan slave trade, which most people don't know about, most black people don't know about. They know about the transatlantic slave trade, but they don't know about the trans-sub-Saharan slave trade. When the Arabic Muslims came into Africa and destroyed Africa, destroyed sub-Saharan Africa, and when you have the black converts from the sub-Saharan era or the trans-sub-Saharan slave trade era, you get the birth of the Moors or the Moorish men, right? From that paradigm of the destruction of Africa with those pale fucking Arabs who came and destroyed Africa. And when they destroyed Africa and enslaved black people, we have to understand something about the sub-Saharan slave trade, family. The sub-Saharan slave trade lasted 14 centuries. And we all know the Atlantic slave trade only lasted 3 to 4 centuries. So these Arab or Islam was destroying Africa. That's why if you can remember the movie Roots, when the slaves was coming to America, they were talking about Allah and things of that sort. That's because when you talk about the Arabs coming to Africa with the sub-Saharan slave trade, they destroyed Africa, and their main target was the black women. With the men in the sub-Saharan slave trade, don't believe me, check it out. With the men in the sub-Saharan slave trade, they actually used them as for their army, or they killed them. I think it was like something like 65% of the people in the slave trade was black women. So they attacked our women because they knew the women gave us life. The black woman is God. Whether you want to believe that or not, if you talk about African culture, that's kind of how we were structured. Around the black woman, knowing that the black woman fed the community life. So when you talk about the Moors were the black converts to Islam that helped destroy Africa and help build Europe. We know that a lot of Moorish people did a lot of work in Europe during the Dark Ages, what they call the Dark Ages of Europe, when white people didn't even know how to take showers. I'm gonna say Caucasian people. There's no such thing as white people. Caucasian people, right? Because it gives them my identity. The Khazars, the Nazca, what do you call it? The Khazars and the Nazca, what do you call it? The Ashkenazis. When we talk about those cavemen, the Moors were the ones who came and civilized them and taught them how to read, taught them mathematics, and taught them how to rule Africa, taught them how to rule black people, and helped them build America. When I say help them build America, think about that. The first president was a Moor. The people who helped them fight the civil wars was Moors, side by side, a black Moor. They call them a black Moor. Right? What Europeans called them. They helped destroy Africa and help rebuild Europe. And the Moors, they use the Quran, right? So I'm gonna save that for Islam. I'm gonna say that for Islam. You know what I'm saying? But as a NuWaupian, we're taught to analyze, to understand every single doctrine, because it's called Adamite religions. It's a spell of ignorance. When I say a spell of ignorance, in religion they tell you to believe it. They tell you believe, don't question God, just believe it. Because as I'm going, there's a lot of questions that people don't ask in their Bible.
All right, brother. I'm trying to ask you the same questions that I asked my little brother, Prince York. And I want to see what your take is. All right? What makes NuWaupian so different from other organizations and culture?
Is that we actually have a culture, and that is animism. You know, see, what people don't understand about black people in general, African Americans, we have a conscious community, but the conscious community don't have a culture. A lot of us try to practice animism. A lot of us have altars, but we don't have it as a culture. We don't have certain things set up like what you would call a bar mitzvah and things of that sort that takes people through the rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a culture. NuWaupu is an actual culture. And what separates NuWaupu from, let's say, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, is with NuWaupu, our sole destiny is to kill the spell of ignorance that religion causes. Sinetta, you know religion causes ignorance, right? And that's why we say we're under a spell of, we say Leviathan, we call it the spell of Leviathan or the spell of Kingu, right? And that's really a spell of religion or ignorance, right? When people are not questioning what they're reading or questioning what they're believing, they're just reading or listening to their pastor, right? When most pastors don't even know how to speak Hebrew. And most black Hebrews don't even know how to properly speak Hebrew or translate the Bible in Hebrew. That is key, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. We're talking about people who don't even know how to speak. Sonny, I have to touch this, right? When you talk about religious people, right? A Muslim or Hebrew or a Christian, if you ask any Muslim, does he have the original Quran? If you want to tell the truth, he's going to have to say no. And now when you ask him, where is the original Quran? He's going to have to say it was destroyed. Because according to Islam, the original Quran was destroyed and it was memorized by men. So at that point, you have to go off of a man's memorization of God's word or what an angel came down and gave to Muhammad in a cave. You have to accept what a man said from his mind, not the fact. This is coming from a man who said he memorized it. If he missed one word from the Quran, if he missed one passage from the Quran, you don't have the full truth. And how many different translations of the Quran do we have? We know that the Quran is not written in the original language the Quran was written in. So the moment you change a language, you know that you miss an essence. Because you know that the Quran or Islam added dots and vowels to their language or to the Quran. So once you add dots and vowels, there's an alteration there. And the same with the Hebrews. If you ask a Hebrew, does he have the original Bible? He's going to have to say no. And they actually have a story for that. After God gave it to Moses on the mountain, he actually destroyed it because the Hebrews were practicing animism. And they said they were worshiping a bull or a calf. Right? And at that point, he destroyed those holy texts that God gave him. It's funny because God actually came down on a mountain, walking on the mountain, and gave him the Holy Scrolls or the Ten Commandments or the Bible that you guys read today. But that was destroyed. So if you ask any Hebrew, does he have the original Bible? He's going to have to say no. And if you ask any Hebrew, is the Bible written in the same translation? He's going to have to say no. There was thousands of translations, even in English. The New Christian Translation, the King James Translation. So you have to understand with religious people, they don't even have the original book. Do you even know what that means? If you don't have the original book, how are you trying to teach me from a book that's not even original? How are you trying to teach me from a book that you can't even comprehend properly? Because you don't speak Hebrew. And the same with Christians, but the Christians are the worst because they got a white Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? So, I just want to make one more statement. If you don't have the original text in the original language, how could you teach from it? And that creates confusion. Think about that, family. That creates confusion. The moment I change something from Akkadian to Aramaic to what you call Hebrew, at that point, there's so many different alterations to that language. I want to go back to one scripture. In Genesis, in the Tower of Babel, God said he came down and confused everybody's language. we have to understand that Hebrew is one of the dialects of languages that people got after God came down and created confusion. So that's not God's original language. So it's confusion. Religion is confusion. Your Bible even tell you God came down in Genesis to cause confusion. Because as it says in the Bible, the people have become one. And anything they can imagine to do can be done. The people have become like us. This is in Genesis. God said the people have become like him, so he came down and confused them. At that point, he created confusion on the planet. And Hebrew is one of the confusions or the dialects from that confusion that happened in Genesis. Don't play with me, God. Don't play with NuWaupians. Dad, don't play with us.
All right. I'm about to ask you this right now.
Talk to me.
Dr. York have changed the practice of his teachings many times.
Absolutely.
At one time, he used to teach Islam. I don't know what type of Islam, but I know they used to be teaching some sort of Islam. At one time, he changed it. They used to be teaching some sort of Hebrew Israelitism or whatever, right? They used to teach a lot of stuff. Now they used to teach NuWaupian, and now they are teaching NuWaupian.
It's actually interchangeable.
Right, interchangeable. So they teaching NuWaupian. Do you think today, quote unquote 2016, that all of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. York, Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, do you think we really gotta take a deep look at these teachings today and upgrade them today, brother? Think about that. Do we need to upgrade them and throw away some of that shit? Come on now. Let's keep it real.
Absolutely. Because what it breeds is psychotic behavior. You understand what I'm saying?
Now I'm talking about NuWaupian.
No, I'm gonna touch it.
We got to upgrade these teachings.
Yeah, so the first part of your question was why do we practice so many different, religions within our culture? This is why. Because NuWaupu is kind of like a sorority. It's like a university. It's like a school. Dr. York took us to different schools of thought. If you ever go to the NuWaupian temple, all right. So when you talk about the format that he did, Dr. York, he used pure psychology, right? When you talk about a spell that was placed upon you, you literally have to take that spell and go in reverse and take it back off of you, right? So you look at the last spell or the aspect of the spell that was applied on us was Islam, right? So Islam came after Judaism, Christianity. So he started off with Islam and broke that spell with the Ansar community, right? And then he went to Christianity with the Egyptian Church of Kles. We have to understand that Dr. York always had the Egyptian flavor in all his schools. That's one fact that everyone have to accept. After Islam, out of the Ansar community, he went with the Egyptian Church of Kles, right? And then he broke the spell on Christianity. And then he went to Judaism and taught us the Torah in Hebrew and broke that spell. And then from that, he went to Samaria. Because where was Abraham from? He was from Chaldea, of Chaldea, right? So he broke the spell on Samaria. People don't even know they're logged into a Sumerian or Mesopotamian spell because that's intertwined within their Bible and in the Torah. But when you translate the Bible in Hebrew, you'll see that the god Bel in the Bible is from Samaria. The god Tammuz in the Bible, which in the Bible it said the people of Israel got on their knees in the temple and prayed to the god Tammuz. That god is a Sumerian god. And I'm going to prove in a little bit that even their god, Yahweh is from Samaria, Babylon, right? And certain aspects is from Egypt. So he took us back to Samaria to break that spell. So the reason why NuWaupu went through all those schools, or why did y'all practice so many different aspects of religion, is because we're under a spell. So he had to break that spell in reverse. And if you look at the facts, what is it called, facts? Check the facts. He had to teach it in reverse to break the spell because it's a psychological spell we're under. Black people are mentally dead, right? Everything started with the mental, so he had to break the spell in reverse, take us back to Samaria, and now we're working with pure animism. And that's why NuWaupu is relevant today. Because when you talk about being in tune with nature living, NuWaupu, we practice animism. right? And with animism, you're practicing natural nature. You're in your natural state. And that's where African people belong. We're animists by nature. So that's that with that. Give Reggie a shout out. Yo, Dr. Reggie, man, I got a lot of respect for you. I know I seen you in the camera store the other day, but Dr. Reggie, man, he's an OG in the game, man. I was watching on Sanetta's channel. I don't know if you liked it, you posted it. It was an old school video when Reggie was my age. Right. Or probably younger than I am. That's sitting right. with the elders. That's right. You know what I'm saying? He was sparring with the elders. He got the mic, you know what I'm saying? He was just talking to him. He been in the game for a long time, so I want to give respect to Reggie. And I want to give respect to all my elders, man. I appreciate all y'all, whether y'all Muslims, Hebrews, whatever. Must still tap your ass, but respect to all my elders, you know? And respect to Reggie, respect to Shaka, respect to my brother Polite. You still NuWaupian, brother. You spitting that NuWaupian science. I want to say something. One second. This is why NuWaupu is relevant. King Simon was a NuWaupian. King Simon dropped his first record in Dr. York's studio. Did you know that?
A lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that. And at one of my events, he gave Dr. York a special shout out on his birthday, right? Minister Inky was a NuWaupian, right? Back in the day. So you're talking about some of the top intellectual people of the conscious community was NuWaupian. I'll take it to a next level. Who watches the Boondocks? If anybody in the chat room watches the Boondocks, right? Y'all don't even know that y'all watching NuWaupian brain concentration. Carl Jones, a genius, a good friend. I got mad love for you, brother. I talk to this brother a lot. We exchange information, you know. Shouts to you. Much love to you in your relationship with your sister Erica Badu. My brother Carl Jones made the Boondocks. That brother was a part of the Ansar community. He was putting in work in New York City. He was passing out flyers. He was teaching the people back in the day. So when you talk about the brother Carl Jones that created the Boondocks, which most of the people in the melanated community watch the Boondocks. I know I watch the Boondocks. You ever seen the Boondocks?
Of course.
It's a powerful. You know, I want to give Carl Jones a shout out. We had 9 black animes of all time, and Carl Jones made 3 of those black animes. Carl Jones, my NuWaupian brother, he made the Boondocks, right? Also, my brother made he made the new one called the Legends, I think. It just dropped on Adult Swim, I think. And then he also made what's the other one? The other one you made, brother. What's the other one Carl Jones made? What's the other? It's the I forget it right now. It's a lot going through my head. It's a lot of science going through my head. Sorry, Jones, cause my NuWaupian brother. But a lot of y'all watch the Boondocks. He made that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the game. Wesley Snipes. I could go on and on. A lot of the most influential, even African Mabadi. A lot of y'all throwing shade at him. He was one of the fathers of rap. But he was influenced by NuWaupu. A lot of the predominant people in the game, whether you talk about acting, whether you talk about music, a lot of them was NuWaupian. And the reason why a lot of them won't say it now is because it could affect their career. Because with NuWaupian, you're talking about a deep science. NuWaupian is not religion, it's a science.
Let me ask you, brother, if there was one person, I'm only giving you one, not 2, that you would like to get your hands on in a debate, who may that be, brother?
All right. In a debate, if I was to debate anybody, because Dr. York, he did give us the permission to defend our culture, because for years, the last 10 years, everyone been taking shots at us. And we haven't been doing anything. We've been calm. We've been practicing our culture. If it was anybody I could come at on the debate, Ali Muhammad, you weak. You could get destroyed easy. To be ethical, I wouldn't even come at Tazariak because that's like, he's a good brother. I'll go with Tazariak, but I'll go with the younger cats. I'll go with the Marcus. His idea on evolution. I'll go with a Pharaoh. Because remember, Pharaoh, you my brother, bro. Listen, Pharaoh, honestly, you my brother. I wouldn't disrespect you. But a lot of the shit you speaking, it sounds like NuWaupian science. Real talk. It sounds like it's like you're speaking a book. You're speaking the words right out the books. It sounds like you're speaking, look at this. With panspermia. It sounds like you're speaking right out the books and the tablets. You know what I'm saying? As a young brother, you sound like you're reading the books and you don't want to put, because what you do, when you have a source, you don't state your source because you lose power at that point. If I was to have a mass, I don't mind doing it, but some people won't state their source because they lose power. People start looking at their source. He says go Google it. I just want to, me, brother to brother, young Pharaoh, I would want you to just give the sources, give the facts, show people what you're reading from. Give people sources to everything you say, and then maybe NuWaupians won't be under your videos like, yo, are you sure you're not reading the books? Are you sure you're not NuWaupian? You know what I'm saying? I FaceTime young Pharaoh, and I'm like, yo, what's going on, fam? I have to ask you this question, bro. You're a good brother. I have to ask you this question. Are you reading the books? The first reaction was a laugh. It's facts. I'm speaking fact. Was a laugh. Psychologically, that's the deflection from the original statement or question or answer or question. Were you reading the books? Ha ha ha. Laughing it off. And then came back and he said, that's not the first time I got that. But if Dr. York is teaching on a level like this, then I have to commend that brother, right? Because anybody who's reasoning on this level must be dealing with some high science. So it's not a fact that you are, brother. But I'm asking you, bro. I want to know if you're reading the tablets and the books and the Patadox. Because, it's a serious question. I know you was a 5%er. I know you was locked up. You know what I'm saying? During that period of time, there's a lot of reading. If you're a 5%er, you're going to come across Dr. York. I don't care what you do, because in that conversation, you said you didn't even know who Dr. York was until someone mentioned it to you. I don't believe that, brother. I'm speaking firm. It does not mean I'm attacking you. But what I'm saying is, I do not believe that you never heard of Dr. York, because Dr. York is the most powerful, most efficient, immaculate teacher that we have, in my opinion, right? With its actual fact, when you look at his work, judge a man by his works, right? So Pharaoh, it'll be the young cats. It'll be Pharaoh and Marcus. It'll be Divine Prospect. I'm getting that Divine Prospect. Divine Prospect, brother. You've been playing the fence for too long, brother. I'm gonna have to tap you up. At this point, you feel me? Even though he's not literally the type of Divine Prospect, not the type of dude to attack NuWaupu or attack somebody, but he's been playing the fence. He's been saying he's a Hebrew, but he's been saying he's a part of the conscious community, the black consciousness, the black power. You cannot play both parts, brother. Because I know as a Hebrew Israelite, it's either you a Hebrew Israelite or you're a part of the conscious community with the RBG movement. You cannot play both aspects. So it's either I'm gonna tear you up on that Hebrew aspect, because everyone could get it now, honestly. So it'll be the younger cats. But if anybody who wanted could get it. So when you look at the word Nubian, right? We have NuWaupian or Nuban. Nuban is pure black. Nuban is people you see in Sudan who dark skinned. Those are our original people. Those are what we have still right now, is genetically strong. The Nubans. So when we talk about NuWaupians, and you talk about Nu being the key word, being the primordial waters that Atum, came through, like what's called Atum or Atom. That's where we get the idea of atom or even Adam from. With some Atum coming from the primordial waters. See, what do they call these cats? With Ankh and the God killer? The God killer. The real black atheist. Marcus, bro. You a smart, intelligent brother. Why'd you join these weird, silly motherfuckers? I'm joking. Ankh, I felt disappointed in you, brother. You was a NuWaupian. A lot of people don't know that. Ankh was a NuWaupian. A lot of people in the conscious community was NuWaupian. A lot of people, look at the big heads. Polite, Inky, freaking Ankh. Most of the conscious community was NuWaupian. But wait, let me finish. Let me type this. When we talk about the word Nubian, we talk about atoms coming from the primordial waters. We talk about the hydro-pygmies. What does hydrogen mean? Hydro means water. Born from water. Gen represents genes or genetics. So you talk about hydrogen. When we say the hydro-pygmies, we're talking about black pygmies that evolved from water. So when these niggas talking about monkey shit, monkey business, they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Talking about monkey business, they don't know what they're talking about. Let me finish. I have to give it to Ankh, bro. I have to give it to Ankh. Because Ankh been talking a lot of that crazy shit. And this nigga Chuck Morgan, who been posting up videos, this nigga Ankh will take Chuck Morgan's video. Wait, I have to make it clear. Chuck Morgan, you a fucking agent. I'm sorry for my language. I know your kids is in. Chuck Morgan, you an agent. You don't do nothing for the conscious community, what they call the conscious community. You don't do nothing for black people. All you do, Chuck Morgan, is slander. Dr. York is behind bars. And what are you still doing? You're still slandering. You an agent. You got caught. Now, Ankh, you are taking Chuck Morgan's work and posting it on your page. Remember, Dr. York is your father. Dr. York is the one that woke you up. You told me face to face, whenever you see me, you show me respect. And you say that Dr. York is the one that raised you. You said it was the God series who even gave you the ability to do what you're doing right now. And you talk about Unc's whole build is all the God series. Dr. York gave birth to you, son. So show respect. Put some respect on his name. If it wasn't for Dr. York, you wouldn't even be doing what you're doing today. So put some respect on his name. I know you're my elder, but I have to tap you up. And you're talking about pseudo. When you talk about pseudo, brother, do you know what pseudo? Do you know that white people, Albert Einstein, didn't understand the spooky action at a distance? Quantum physics. Quantum physics represents African spirituality. Do white people co-sign on animism? Do white people co-sign on African spirituality? No, because I went to the Museum of Natural Science, the Museum of Natural History, and I looked at the walls of animism that they talk about. They said that in animism, African culture is animism, and that all of African people were animists, and that they tapped in and communicated with their ancestors. And they said modern science cannot yet comprehend African spirituality. You spooky motherfucker, you spooky. Because when you talk about animism, they don't understand. White people, 75% of the pineal glands not even activated. They don't produce melanin. So how could they tap into something like quantum physics? Quantum physics, did you think like spooky action at a distance? That when you're observing a particle is still. But when you move your eyes away from that particle is doing whatever the hell it want to do. Quantum physics, they cannot comprehend. I'm sorry. I have to go on this, brother. Sorry, Senator. They cannot comprehend quantum physics. So how the hell are they going to understand chakras? How the hell are they going to understand a pineal gland? I know you understand that the pineal gland is a connection to the Creator, is a connection to God. I know you know that, You know that, right? You falling off, brother. Come back. Panspermia is when life is created, or what you'll call panspermia is when a meteorite is carrying DNA and RNA. I'm giving you actual science because this is what NuWaupu works with, is science. Panspermia is a scientific term. It's when DNA and RNA travels on a meteorite into our oceans. And what happens? We get a single cell organism grows out of that. The amigo and the protozoa, right? And then you have what you would call the Ogdods in Egypt. In Egypt, we have what you call the Ogdods. And that's where you get your primordial evolution, when you have the amigo and the protozoa, which from the amigo and the protozoa actually evolved into what you would call the hydropygmies. Black people is the first people on this planet. Europeans are mixed with monkeys. Know your history, know your fact. That's why I say you fell off, You was a NuWaupian. Dr. York put you on, he sharpened your sword, and you want to act like a stupid, silly idiot, and you're going to go against Dr. York. You went against your fucking father, You went against your father. I'm disappointed in you, brother. Right? When you talk about evolution, we understand, like I was trying to break down before he called, we understand systems like panspermia, right? Or the aquatic theory. We do not understand that science is something that's not, everything is not proven. It always changes over time. Because Europeans are not smart. They're trying to analyze African history. They're trying to analyze African science, or the Dogons. Another thing with the Army School, I'm not trying to throw shots. They're talking about pseudo shit, right? I'm not gonna talk to the brother. I'm trying to give a build. What they don't understand is that when you talk about the aquatic theory is basically the fact, I would say, is that we evolved out of water onto land. What I'm trying to break down is what you call hydrogen. The sun was created by water, or the primordial waters of noon. Not only us as suns, but the actual sun that created the solar system, was created in water. When we look at hydro, the etymology of hydrogen, hydro in Greek is water, and gen means genes. Hydrogen. When you put hydrogen and helium together, that creates the sun, right? So the sun actually came from primordial waters, what we'll call noon. When we talk about atum or amun or amun, we're talking about life, or the primary life giver of our solar system coming from water. And now human beings, as suns, we evolved from actual water with the aquatic theory, with what you'll call panspermia. Don't believe me? Check it out. Take out your time, family, and go look up the Bimbin stone. If you go look up the Bimbin stone is actually a meteorite that they said that came from outer space to our planet. You understand what I'm saying? And came into our waters and germinated our waters and started life. And it started with the amigo to the protozoa, the single cell organism with the amigos, the protozoa with the double cell organism, which came the hydro-pygmies. We call it hydro-pygmies because hydro means water, and pygmy is the small Africans that was on this planet before anybody was on this planet. The small Africans that barely grew hair. We started growing hair when we mixed with the Hindus, or what we call East Indians, or Dravidians, and then we African people start growing hair. If you look at Africa, even to this day, a lot of Africans don't really grow hair like that. They will have what you would call non-ether hair, which is really small, right? It's really curled. It curls into a nine, but it's really, really tight. A lot of African people, we have nappy hair, but we don't have like straight non-ether hair. That's when the coils are so tight and small that it curls like a nine into your head. So when we talk about the hydro-pygmies, we evolved out of water onto this land. Now when you talk about the monkey business, that's when you get into different genetic manipulations of Khazars with monkeys and different things of that sort. That's where you get that monkey DNA from, right? That's a Caucasian man. Have you ever seen a black monkey? Ever? Monkeys are pink. Have you ever seen a monkey with big lips? No. What's wrong with y'all, man? That's what you call telltale signs. When you talk about black people, we evolved with this planet. We created this planet. Because like I said, before the physical realm, we was in what you'll call ether. Etheric. Ether is subatomic particles. It's pre-matter. And science has even proven that hydrogen is not the lightest element or particle. They say it's lighter than that. That's what you call dark energy, dark matter. You're talking about something that they cannot comprehend. So when y'all silly cats are talking about pseudo, what we have to understand is that science can't even comprehend dark energy and dark matter, which is really ether energy that created the universe, that created the sun. It's consciousness. We have to understand, you're talking about pseudo? I'm going to tell you right now that the sun thinks. And not only does the sun thinks, but the sun is smarter than you are. You egotistic bastards. Woo! The sun is smart. How could you be smarter? How could you be smarter than the being that created your planet? How could you be smarter than the planet that gave birth to you? Look at the planet Earth as a womb. And the sun as our tomb, giving birth to that womb, creating life on this planet. Do y'all not understand African animism? That's what NuWaupu is. We're animists. A lot of y'all niggas don't understand. I'm sorry for my language. I have to get like this to these black people because they don't understand. NuWaupu is animism. The planet thinks and the sun thinks. Not only the sun thinks, but it's the source of reason, the source of intellect, the source of intelligence. Intel in genes. Your intelligence is started with your genes. Your brain is sparked by your genetic coding through heredity. If you a dumb motherfucker, you're gonna pass dumb shit to your children. And if you're a smart man, you're gonna pass down smart intellect in your genes, intelligence in your genes to your children. And that's gonna affect the way they think. We have a book called Genetics that break that down. You fell off. This is what I'm trying to tell you. NuWaupu's on a different level, brother. When you talk about pseudo, I'm gonna talk about quantum physics. You know what I'm saying? Because even your man's Einstein, all these white scholars you're talking about, they don't understand quantum physics, and they won't understand quantum physics because quantum physics is African spirituality all day. Right? Yes. So, like I explained to you, NuWaupu or NuWaupians, we're animists by nature. The information that we're talking about, the only thing that's constant is change, right? That's what I'm telling you, they understand that. As a young kid, I was studying so much stuff. I was studying everything. Dr. Ben, I like Dr. Ben. Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen. I studied Dr. Blair. I studied all these people. So I really understand that everything is diverse. You have to study everything. But what I'm saying is when it comes to the closest thing to what we used to practice, that's NuWaupu. That's being a NuWaupian. Because like I said, NuWaupian is not like being a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian. Being a NuWaupian is being black. It's in our genetics to be a NuWaupian. That's what people don't understand that. When I say NuWaupian, I'm saying all black people. I'm not just saying our crew over here. Just like you would say Nubian. Nubian means mixed, and Nuban means absolute black. Being the first, original Nuban. right? Being from Kemet, right? So being a NuWaupian in our language means to be black, right? That's what it means. And we literally, our language goes back to the pattern. You know what I'm saying? We sprung off and created what you would call the metal net and things of that sort. So it's evolution. Like I told the brother Sanetta, the only thing is constant is change. I understand that. You know, you have to expand your mind. You cannot be stuck on one place. Religious people, they don't question their Bible. They don't go into the book and be like, yo, wait, serpent. What does it mean in Hebrew? In Hebrew, serpent really means nakash, which means whisper. You have to have a level of intelligence to whisper. You understand what I'm saying? So that being whoever was whispering in Genesis, this is mythology, by the way, that being whoever was whispering in Genesis was actually had a level of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? And this is what you call questioning things. Understand that when you talk about the Bible in Hebrew, when you say God, God really means Elohim in Hebrew. Elohim is plural, which means more than one. That's why it says, thou shalt not worship any other God but me. See, or let us go down there and confound their language. Talking about a cast of people. And the people in the churches still don't ask questions. The Hebrews, they still don't ask the questions. What do they mean when they say multiple gods? No, not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, excluding the woman. Next question, brother. I'm not going to go on and
on. Okay, brother. Let me ask you this, man. Something real basic and simple. Do you believe in Jesus in the 2016 era today? Do you believe that there was a man called Jesus that walked the face of the earth? Do you believe in the prophets of the Bible? Were they real people? Do they exist? Be careful, because this question is going to tell me everything I need to know about you. This question right here is going to tell me how much studying you need. So I'm asking you again. Was Jesus a real person? Was the people in the Bible real people? Adam, Eve, Jacob, Mark, Luke, John, I mean, you name it, Daniel. Were these real prophets of God?
The first thing I want to say is that the Bible is a Masonic book. Anybody that don't know that now, they need to know that the Bible was written by Masons. It's a Masonic book. It has hidden information in it, right? Inspired by, if you want to call it a higher deity or whatever you want to call it. But let's deal with the facts. Let's look at what we know. Did they find Abraham's grave? No. Let's talk about Jesus. Did they find Jesus' grave? Did they find Isaac's graves? Did they find Noah's grave? No. But did they find Imhotep's grave or Akhenaten's grave or Akhenaten's children's grave? Yes. When you talk about the Bible, you're really talking about Babylonian ideology and culture and Egyptian culture mixed together in a Masonic manner. When I have to give you a shout out when you spoke about the Bible and how it broke down the evolution of the Caucasian man. The only thing he's missing there is that influence was not necessarily by a Negroid, but was by an extraterrestrial being, right? And that's where it gets interesting. You might want to ask me more questions about that, because extraterrestrials do exist. Your government do exist. Actually, once you go outside this country to Peru and other countries, they will tell you extraterrestrials exist. You know, they even had a show called Ancient Aliens where they broke down that extraterrestrials exist. So this is an actual fact. It's up to you to accept that. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have a actual something called the hard one DNA. The hard one that's not even from this planet. Go look up the hard one. It's almost alien to this planet. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about African cultures like the Dogons, we talk about the Namos who came from the Sirius star system, who came and taught them how to map out the star systems without even having the technology to do so. But going back to the Bible, simply when you work with the world of reality, you cannot prove any of these people existed. It sounds good, but you cannot prove any of these people existed. Could they have existed by another name? Maybe. I'm not killing that. I'm not killing that. That you know, basically that reality, that if it's there, that could be a possibility. I'm not killing the possibility.
All right, but now hold on.
Facts.
All right, I want to say that you have now passed the Sarnetta University test. You have passed the Sarnetta University test. Now, we're getting ready to wind it down because, let me see, what time is it? All right, it's 1 o'clock.
1 second. When we talk about, one thing I want to talk about really fast is religion. We talked about the Bible, and this really needs to be touched on. Because when I talked about extraterrestrial beings, what I'm going to have Tazariak agree with, because I know you're going to agree with it, brother.
That's a beast. You better not call it.
Listen.
Hold on.
No. I'm not even joking. Serious face. I'm not even joking.
Tazariak is a beast.
No, I'm not even joking. Listen. Yo, let me ask you a question, Sarnetta. You interviewed back in the day, I watched it on your channel, some of the elders from One West, right?
Right.
And you seen them with the extraterrestrials, spaceships or UFOs on their hat. Mm-hmm. This is simple. Tazariak, I want you to openly express to the people that you believe that the UFOs exist. Right? Whether you say it's black men, white men, yellow men, blue men, I want you to come out to the people and let them know that it exists. Because I'm going to take your Bible right now and I'm going to show them that it exists. Because it's all in the Bible. And wait. Yo, stop. Talk to me real fast. Build with me. You know when Brother Polite said that the Hebrew Israelites was eating their babies? Sarnetta? You know that. You remember that, right? I'm going to take it to the next level.
Hold on.
When you talk about the Bible in Leviticus 1 through 9, not only did the Hebrew Israelites eat their babies, but God eats flesh, and God in the Bible drinks blood. That's what we call it, a bloodlust religion.
Hold on. All right. Peace and Black Power family. You on live? What's up, man?
Yeah, peace, Black Power. Rahul back. My brother, how you doing?
Yo, Rahul back.
Yeah, Rahul back. Yeah, I just want to send a shout out. Much love to you, man, for, standing strong and being, and backing up Dr. York, man, and all the things that he has done, especially, me being from Georgia and following the, Pop's teaching for over 20 to 30-something years. You see what I'm saying? It's good that a brother can come up there and really be a soldier, and stand up strong to these suckers out there. And I want to congratulate you one more time, 1,000%, brother. One big, strong Black Power to you getting on and that misinformation that he's doing, coming with those crackers information. And I told him I was going to get him because I seen him use Dr. York's material in one of his videos. But I'm glad that you stood up, brother, and brought it to the light so that everybody can see what type of fake and also what type of sellout he is. And that's all I want to say, brother. Peace, Black Power, and y'all keep it going, brother.
Yo,
peace, brother.
Tell me how you saw.
Brother.
All right, there you have it. Go ahead. What you
got
to say about that?
So let me finish. Oh, what he just said?
Yeah, would you talk about with the brother?
Yo, much love to the brother. A lot of people be hating on the NuWaupu in general, especially ex-members. I hope I showed and proved that a lot of heads in the conscious community used to be NuWaupian anyway. When you talk about the strong brothers in the conscious community, used to be NuWaupian anyway. They will actually tell you once you sit down with them. See, Uncle's on the front, brother. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just saying I was with you face to face, and you said you respect Dr. York, and Dr. York was an intelligent brother. He's a brilliant brother, and he motivated you. You didn't say he was your father. I said he was your father. Because he birthed a lot of the thoughts that's in your head. He sparked you with the God series to do what you're doing. So I'm not disrespecting you, brother. You my elder, and I still got mad love for you. You my brother, yo, all day. But I want to just let it be known that, a lot of people in the conscious community used to be NuWaupians, and those people took their information, they left, and they twisted it around, and now they hating on Dr. York. Chuck Morgan, you an agent. If I see you, I'm going to smack you. All right, I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to go young Pharaoh on y'all. But you an agent, Chuck Morgan. I want everybody to know that Chuck Morgan is an agent. All he does is slander Dr. York and the NuWaupian Nation. He don't do nothing to show love. You an agent.
Peace and Black Power family. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this Mo Light calling from Oakland, California.
Hold on, you said Mo Light? Mo Light?
Mo Light, like give me Mo Light. I need that knowledge.
What's up, Mo Light?
Same shit, different toilet. I can't call it bruh. I see you doing your ones, twos.
Yeah, what's up? What's on your mind, brother? You got any question for the brother Huhi Kaa?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why he trying to perpetuate like that NuWaupian doctrine is something new. You gotta understand, bro, you coming from a doctrine that was basically plagiarized off of mysticism, off of esotericism, coming from Aleister Crowley and Rosicrucian doctrine, and like the brother was flip-flopping. no doubt that he did what he could do, you know what I'm saying, with the information he had, but it wasn't nothing original about what he was bringing. You feel me?
Okay, so do you have a question?
Yeah, I want to know, do that brother understand the indoctrination or the literature or the very beginning aspect of his organization that he's representing? Does he know the history of it? Can he take us from day one and formulate it into what it is now?
Okay, let's listen to his response, brother.
Okay. See now, brother, what you're making it seem like is Dr. York, he just kind of freestyled it as he went on. I want everyone to know that Dr. York's first name, his actual name, because he changed his name a lot, his first name was Asaru Akata. Asaru Akata is an African name. So that's why I say he used psychology to start religion, to heal the spell of religion from in reverse. So, the brother, I respect you, brother, for calling in, but the first thing you said was NuWaupian's a bunch of mysticism. I like that. I love that. You know why? What's the mystery? We are a mystery. It's my story. When you talk about Alex Crawley and stuff like that, that's all cool. You know what's crazy? When you talk about, a lot of people use the brother that talked about Anunnakis. What's the brother's name? Not Pharaoh. I'm talking about the white guy that talked about, what's the guy's name? The dude that dealt with Samaria and the Anunnaki and things of that sort. I forget his name right now. No, not Alex Crawley. I know who Alex Crawley is. But what we have to talk about is, when we talk about mysticism, a lot of Negroes don't even understand mysticism and African spirituality. African spirituality is deep. When we talk about what Aleister Crowley tried to do was explain spirituality or African spirituality in a European way. Read Aleister Crowley's books. You see, I'm a NuWaupian, but I read everything. That's why he can't catch me with the okie doke. Because I read everything I can put my hands on. And, yo, so one thing I just want to start off with, brother. Brother, what you tried to do, bro, is give your understanding. NuWaupu is mysticism. It is deep African spirituality.
I will contend that I don't understand, my brother. I mean, I'm not going to sit here. I would not get into that doctrine, but I do understand the Rosicrucian doctrine has nothing to do with ancient Egypt or anything.
All right, thank you, brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, you're welcome. Go ahead, bro.
Peace and Black Power family. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Suede, and I'm calling from the West Coast.
Suede, what's on your mind, Suede?
Hello?
What's on your heart and mind, Suede?
You know, I just want to know, how are the people supposed to trust the NuWaupians? After everything that we've seen, child molestation, we've seen the woman on Montel Jordan, her child had disabilities from being starved to death. So I just want to know how we're supposed to move forward with all that.
Okay, listen up, sister.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that in reverse. I'm gonna answer that in reverse because I already dealt with Unc with the whole child molestation allegation that was not proven. So I'm gonna talk about with the Montel show. What we have to understand is that, first of all, I want to make it clear that we all know that polygamy is an African science, right? That's an African traditional culture. Dr. Malachi he was a polygamist. He had multiple wives. So what I experienced just by dating women and being a polyamorous, not even a polygamist because I'm not married as of yet. I have a maid, I have a daughter. What I have to understand is when you're dealing with multiple women, right? Dr. Yoki had over 200 kids. You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you're dealing with multiple women, let's say you're for example, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's say you're the 16th or 17th wife, right? And you may not be getting all the attention sexually. You may not be getting all the attention mentally. Or you might not even be getting all the attention materialistically as all the other wives. Could that spark any kind of jealousy as a woman in being in a polygamous relationship? Yes, it can, sister. If you don't want to answer that, it could spark some jealousy. It could spark animosity. When you go to,
why would they be jealous when they know what situation they're going to be in? Let me choosing that lifestyle. They know. But
let me explain. It sounds all good when you're talking about a man with millions of dollars, a man that built a whole land with pyramids. It sounds good to be in a relationship with them, that man, until you actually get into the relationship. Then you might experience, I'm not getting all the attention I was getting when I was monogamous, before I was actually into African spirituality. You know what I'm saying, sister? I'm not attacking you. I'm reasoning with you. From the outside, from looking from the outside in, right? A man with millions of dollars. Dr. York was a really successful man. right? He had his own land. He was the first black man to build pyramids. So coming from the outside in, Dr. York, as NuWaupians, he'll be our pharaoh. A lot of people would think we say he's our God, but he's like our pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? We say that we say he was here to help us and save us. So when you talk about the Montel show, I watched that, sister, and I really analyzed the sisters. And I'm me being a part of the community, I asked questions. You know what I'm saying? Because I was curious. I'm really analytical. So with a lot of these sisters, they get into these relationships. Even regular sisters and myself, they will tell me because they think I may be attractive, or they think they may like me. It's because I tell them, oh, I think I could do polyamory, or I think I could be polygamous. So I think I want to. Once they get into the relationship and they figure out I'm a polyamorous man, they be like, yo, they really not down with it, even though they agree with it. So if you look at that on the greatest scale, Dr. York was a really successful black man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not taking anything away from his nation building. Yeah. I'm just saying that is more than just jealousy.
No, it is. I mean, it is
abuse.
I agree with you.
That woman's child was disabled.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you have women, right, who are going on the Montel Williams show, who are speaking about things out of animosity. You can see it in their eyes. I watched the same thing with you, and I asked questions in my community because I wanted to know. So you talk about women who was really they had an animosity for him. A lot of these people, like they said, one of them admitted that they were doing something that they felt was wrong, and they got kicked out of the community, right? So if you got kicked out of the community for a certain amount of time, you're gonna have so much animosity. I'm telling you, because I've been through certain situations in my life, right? Either with women or even myself being kicked out of a situation for a amount of time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's women, you know?
Thank you, my sister, for calling in. I appreciate you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Have a beautiful night, sister.
I want to try to let you answer these questions as quick as possible, because you can see the people is calling in. Peace and Black Power family. What's your name and where you calling from?
Peace. Just watching the truth. I'm calling from Columbia, South Carolina.
All right. What's your question, my brother?
My question is, how can we take this brother serious when he's sourcing ancient aliens? I said, how can we take you serious when you sourcing ancient aliens? Like that has been debunked already.
You said,
how can we take you serious?
Oh, okay. Let me show you. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it with the facts. Okay. Do you know of someone named Philip Snyder? Yes or no? Have you heard of Philip Snyder?
No, I'm talking about ancient aliens.
No, I got you. Have you heard of Philip Snyder? Yes or no? Say no. No, you haven't. So let me educate you real fast. Did you not know Philip Snyder, he worked as a geologist on underground bases, right? His father was a part of the CIA and the U.S. government, right? I explained this in my last lecture on Black News 102 called God Unmasked, and I showed you how people that worked in the U.S. government came out and went on lectures around the states saying extraterrestrials exist. Look this up. The Dulce bases in New Mexico. The Dulce bases were created in an underground basis where aliens actually do function and work with our government side by side. So what these people that came out,
we got to move forward.
Look up Philip Snyder.
Peace and Black Power family. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Black Power to the family? This right here is No Faith, calling from Carolina. I just want to ask the brother a quick question. He mentioned hydrogen in the sun thinking, and I wonder if he can explain what he meant by hydrogen, and I think he said it's the water gene, because hydrogen is just simply an element. Water is hydrogen and oxygen together. Yeah. And I wonder if he can provide an actual dictionary that can show us where just the gene in hydro, the ending part, the G-N, can you show me in the dictionary, because I have a few of them pulled up right now, where gene means gene, because in hydrogen, gene only means the combination of the elements. So I wonder if you can really explain that to me. And also maybe you could touch on the sun, because the sun is nothing merely but than a star that's close to a planet. So
absolutely.
All stars think as well.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Let me explain that. Okay. First of all, when I'm talking about hydrogen means water, and I said gene means genes.
So hydrogen does not mean water.
No, Look it up. Look up the dictionary right now. Look. Yeah. So you said it's not flammable, right? So in order, you said what is hydrogen made of? What is hydrogen made of?
I'm asking you. You just told
You said hydrogen and oxygen was water.
Is hydrogen and oxygen.
Yeah, that's what. Listen, okay. Let me answer your question. So in order for fire to burn, you need oxygen. That's what I'm saying. You need water for fire to actually burn. Because as we know, water is actually within our atmosphere, right? Am I correct? So what I'm saying is, what I meant to say was those both connected. That process of the sun being created is coming from water. The sun comes from the primordial waters of noon. That's what noon means when I say primordial waters of noon. And atum, this is what the Egyptians meant when they said atum was that sperm or seed that came from the primordial waters and created life. So now what I mentioned was that process of hydrogen and oxygen coming together with helium to create the sun. The sun coming from the primordial waters of noon to create life all throughout our solar system. And as we do know, when you said the sun is just a star, the sun is not just a star, it's a living and thinking being because it created the whole solar.
It's a star, my boy.
Yeah.
The sun is a star.
Okay, listen. No. Yeah, listen what I'm saying.
There's no
Are we not? Wait. Okay, I got you, brother. Brother, we're talking facts. But are we made of stardust? Is that a fact? Yes, it's a fact. So we are literally no. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let me prove you wrong right now. When we talk about listen, bro, you have to listen, bro. You have to learn. When we talk about panspermia, of course you are. But listen.
You said the sun is not a star.
No, the sun is a star, but it's a no. I said no. You're wrong, sir. You're wrong, brother. See, listen. We're made of stardust, right? Are we not made of stardust? It's a scientific fact. It's a scientific fact. So why wouldn't I believe in that the sun is a star if I believe that I know that we're made of stardust? So brother, come on, tighten up. So listen, let me finish my build. The sun came from primordial waters of noon, which is the actual fact. This is in the Egyptian doctrine when we talk about the Ak gods, right? And then that star, which is a thinking and living being, created the rest of the universe. When I said that we're multiple compounds of ether, astral, physical, and spirit, we have different compounds to the physical body that's interpenetrated, right? These different aspects of us, there's a consciousness outside the physical realm. This physical body is not our essence. Just like this physical body is not our only essence or our sole essence, the sun's physical frame is not its physical essence. The sun was created by ether. Ether energy created physical matter. And this is what you'll get the tachyonic energy. When you get matter connecting to the spirit, that's what you get tachyonic energy, is when that physical essence attaches on to the spiritual essence, attaches on to that physical essence, which causes life on this realm. So I hope you wasn't confused when I said that the sun came from the primordial waters. That came from hydrogen and oxygen, which creates water, like you said, right? Mixed with helium to create the sun. The sun comes from primordial essence or primordial noon and then create life within our solar system. If you study Egyptian doctrine, the Egyptian broke this down perfectly. So, brother, we go to the next scholar. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you.
All right. We're going to close this out right now because, you know, the wifey calling me.
One more thing. Leviticus 1 through 9. Because I wanted to get this out, and I have to get this out. Leviticus 1 through 9, we have to understand that not only did the Hebrew Israelites eat the people, but God of the Bible. God of the Bible eats flesh and blood. If you go to Leviticus 1 through 9, I'm going to read Leviticus 5 for y'all so y'all can understand that this being in the Bible, he's not the creator of the omnipotent universe. This being is a physical being on this planet that eats flesh and blood. Well, who's calling me? Who eats flesh and blood? So I want to read this to y'all. This is Leviticus. Actually, I'm going to start from Genesis 17. When God said, God came to Abraham when his name was Abram, not Abraham, his name was Abram. He gave him the name Abraham. God of the Bible, which they call Yahweh or Jehovah, he came to Abraham under the name God Almighty in English. But once you translate God Almighty in Hebrew, you get El Shaddai. And when you translate El Shaddai, you look up El Shaddai in the Hebrew Strong 7703, 7700, and 7736. You'll see that we're talking about a goat man, a half man, half goat, which you call the Baphomet. That's where you get the idea of God from. You know how they say the devil is the Baphomet? The Baphomet is actually God in the Bible. When you translate El Shaddai in your Bible, you're talking about a goat man that eat flesh and blood. Now, when you go to Leviticus 1 through 9 is like a whole cookbook. This nigga's telling the Hebrew Israelites how to cut up meat and cook a goat, cook a cow, cook a pigeon, squeeze the blood on his altar. And I'm not only talking shit, I'm gonna prove it to y'all. This nigga eats flesh. This nigga's a crazy, sick, psychotic motherfucker. This is the God of the Bible, El Shaddai, who they call Yahweh. But Yahweh, when we talk about Yahweh, YHWH or Yahawashi, that actually comes from an Egyptian origin called Hu. The priest of On passed it down to the Hyksos. There was no black Hebrew Israelites in Egypt as a slave. There was Hyksos that invaded Egypt. The Hyksos was Caucasian people mixed with Aryans, mixed with East Indians that invaded Egypt. And they ruled Lower Egypt, but was kicked out by brothers from Sudan who came into Egypt and kicked the Hyksos out of Egypt. But while the Hyksos was in Egypt, the name Yahweh or Huhi was passed on to the Hyksos. The Hyksos later on took that and turned it into their god Yahweh or Yehovah. So now, right, come on, wait. Let me turn this down. All right. So when you talk about the God of the Bible eating flesh, all right, we're gonna go to Leviticus 5, but we're gonna go to Leviticus 5 and 6. I'm losing my voice. As a penalty for the sin they have committed, they must bring to the Lord a female lamb or goat from the flock as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for them for their sin. Anyone who cannot afford a lamb is to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons to the Lord. I'm sorry, let me open up my phone. Once it's to the Lord as a penalty for the sin. One for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. They are to bring them to the priest, who shall first offer the one of the sin offering. He is to rind its head from its neck, not dividing it completely, and is to splash some of the blood of the sin offering against the side of the altar. The rest of the blood must be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. The priest shall then offer the other as a burnt offering in the prescribed way and make atonement for them for the sin they have committed, and they will be forgiven. So we're talking about God telling the priest to spring out blood of animals' head at the bottom of his altar, cut up flesh and cook flesh for this being. This being obviously is not up in a throne in heaven. If he's verse again, so they can look. That's Leviticus 5 and 6. It starts 5 and verse 6. But you can read Leviticus 1 through 9. This is literally a cookbook. This nigga God literally has a cookbook where he's cooking up flesh and eating animals. And this nigga was gonna eat Abraham's son. If y'all know your Bible, y'all know God told Abraham to sacrifice his son to him so he could eat the motherfucker. This is some sick shit now, because we're talking about the omnipotent God who created the universe coming down to earth to eat pigeons, to eat cows and deers and asses. This nigga's eating asses. All right, so now I'm gonna read one more for y'all. This is Leviticus 4. Leviticus 4 and 4. He is to present the bull at the entrance to the tent of meeting before the Lord. He is to lay his hand on his head and slaughter it there before the Lord. Lord translated in Hebrew is Yahweh. Then the anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and carry it into the tent of the meeting. He is to dip his fingers into the blood and sprinkle some of it 7 times before the Lord. Why 7 times? In front of the... I'm sorry, my phone keep going up. This is some sick shit, y'all. This is we have to understand that they have an altar for their God. So I'm going to read it from the top. The anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and carry it into the tent of the meeting. He is to dip his fingers into the blood and sprinkle some of it 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain of the sanctuary. The priest shall then put some of the blood on the horns of the altar. The horns of the altar, he will put blood of fragrant incense. That is before the Lord. I'm going to say Yahweh from now on. That's before Yahweh. In the tent of the meeting. The rest of the bull's blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar or burnt offerings at the entrance to the tent of the meeting. He shall remove all the fat from the bull of the sin offering, all of the fat that is connected. I'm sorry, wait. Lord 10. He shall remove all the fat from the bull of the sin offering, all the fat that is connected to the internal organs, both kidneys with the fat on them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. Basically, you got my main point was they're taking blood, sprinkling on the altar, rubbing it on the horns of the altar, pouring the rest of the blood at the bottom of Yahweh's altar or Yahweh's altar. So that's Leviticus 4 and 4. But literally, you could literally read Leviticus 1 through 9. It's a cookbook. He's telling them to pour blood at the end of his altar. Yahweh or Yahweh is asking him to put salt on the meat before he eats it. So one fact I want y'all to know is that Sinetta interviews the elders of One East. I'm not banging on y'all. This has to do with absolute truth. I'm not banging on the Hebrew brothers. We're talking Yeshaya. We are talking about extraterrestrial beings. The God of the Bible is actually a demigod because he was created by these beings. He was half goat, half man, right? If you look up El Shaddai, I gave you the verses in the Hebrew Strong 7703, 7700, and 7736. And you look up the origin of this God, his name, he literally is a goat man. He's a destructive force. He kills, he lusts, and he has a characteristics as a man. Because half man, half goat. That's the Baphomet. I don't know if you're going to throw the picture up. I'm going to show them a quick picture real fast. I have to get the information out there. Yeah. So also, we have to understand that this nigga eats flesh. You know what I'm saying? And he eats human beings. So this is in your Bible family. It's in your Bible family.
All right, so I want to say peace and black power to my brother Huhi Kaa.